Hail, brothers and sisters, may the blessings of Odin be upon you. I come to you on this glorious day to share with you the word of the Aesir. We live in dangerous times. Those godless atheists want to spread their lies about the true origins of this world and take us away from the one undeniable truth. Do you really believe that the Big Bang created something from nothing? That it created the world and life? You don't actually believe in evolution, do you? I'm here to share the truth, and the truth is there for everyone to see. It was passed on to us through the ages, firstly by our forefather Snorri Sturluson, and then handed father to son until it finally handed into your hands today. Many scientists today know that the universe was in fact originally fashioned from the corpse of the giant Ymir. Now, whilst I'm on the subject, here's a long list of scientists who, like me, know this to be true. Bor's sons took Ymir and bore him into the middle of the yawning void, and made of him the earth. Of his blood the sea and the waters. The land was made of his flesh, and the crags of his bone. Gravel and stones they fashioned from his teeth and his grinders, and from the bones that were broken. And Jafnar said, of the blood which ran and welled forth freely out of his wounds, they made the sea, when they had formed and made firm the earth together, and laid the sea in a ring round about her. And it may well seem a hard thing to most men to cross over it. Then said Thridi, they took a skull also, and made of it the heaven, and set it up over the earth with 4 corners. And under each corner they set a dwarf. The names of each of these are East, West, North, and South. Then they took the glowing embers and sparks that burst forth, and had been cast out of Muspelheim, and set them in the midst of the yawning void and the heaven, both above and below, to illuminate heaven and earth. They assigned places to all fires. To some in heaven, some wandered free under the heavens. Nevertheless, to these also they gave a place, and shaped their courses. Now, for those of us who have eyes to see, ears to hear, and a mind to think, you will realize straight away that evolution is false. You will know straight away that this is the truth. Now let's look at this slowly. Okay, the first passage states that the sons of bore the giant Ymir into the middle of the yawning void. Now, everyone knows that the yawning void is just another expression for space. Now look at this picture. What do we see? Well, isn't the Earth right in the middle of space, the yawning void? Isn't it any more? Could I make it any more obvious? The next segment says that the land was made of Ymir's flesh. Now, flesh is made of meat, and meat is an organic substance. Over time, animals will eat it. Now, what do you think kept the dinosaurs nourished? I mean, even horses and other herbivorous animals today once were carnivorous, and they survived by eating the flesh of Ymir. And whatever they didn't eat rotted away eventually, and that served as fertilizer to all the plants that exist today. After all, soil is organic too, right? Well, that's because it used to be meat. It was Ymir's flesh. The next passage says that the sons of Bor made the crags of the earth from Ymir's bones, and that the gravel and stones were made from his teeth, and from the bones which had been broken when he fell. Well, lo and behold, that's exactly how the earth is today. At the very bottom we find a solid mass. We call that rock. But What's it made of? Well, it's made of calcium and various other minerals, which is exactly what bones are made of. And above the ground rock, what do we find? Well, we find smaller rocks, boulders and gravel. All of those are made from calcium, silica and other minerals, exactly as one would expect in the bones and teeth of a colossus. The next passage mentions that Ymir's blood became the ocean water. Now, everybody knows, of course, that giant blood isn't like ours. It's a lot more salty, and it's also got more of a consistency of, well, water, I guess. And guess what? That's exactly what the sea's like today. It's salty and made of water, right? You see, it matches perfectly. And finally, it's said that Ymir's skull was used to make the vault of heaven. Now, unless you're one of those crazy space conspiracy theorists who believes in thousands and millions of light years and all of that crap like that, well, you'll know that this is the truth. I mean, you've never been into space, have you? Nobody has. Unlike what those NASA people would have us believe. I mean, nobody's seen the Big Bang because nobody was there. And what does space look like? Well, that's right. It's like the inside of a skull vault. It's perfectly rational. I like those so-called astronomers on their telescope. Yeah, right. Now, of course, people will say that the Earth doesn't have corners and it doesn't rest on four dwarfs. Well, how do they know that? Have they travelled everywhere on the Earth? Do they know for a fact that four dwarfs don't support the corners of the Earth? But anyway, I think what they're doing is they're essentially taking this out of context. Everybody knows that East, West, North and South exist. And this is prophesied in this book. These are the names of the spirits. Now everybody knows that spirits are invisible. They can't be seen. So these skeptics, or so-called skeptics, these irrational evolutionists, will say that, well, you can't prove that they exist, but they can't prove either that they don't exist and that these spirits aren't dwarves. So anyway, if you believe in the Airseed, you will know that this is the truth. It's really that simple. Now, the last section also mentions that the sons of Bor placed fires in the heaven. Well, that's exactly what we have, except that we don't call them fires anymore. We call them stars, and they are in the heaven, in what we call space, inside the skull vault. Here's a bit of a drawing for you. So, as you can see, the description of the universe's creation in the Edda is perfectly and scientifically explained through the evidence available to us today, unlike those evil evolutionary theorists and all of their nonsensical drivel. I think that what most people simply fail to understand is that Odin loves us, and this is really important, so I'm going to put on my tranquil and loving, caring voice. These people are Odinists, because what that essentially means is that they know that Odin exists, but they deny that truth because they like to live in sin. But if they're honest with themselves, they will know that what's written in this book is the truth. It's scientifically and empirically accurate, and nobody has ever proven it to be false, unless, of course, they take it out of context. Now, ultimately, it comes down to how much you love the living god, Odin. Now, the book says that Ragnarok is coming, the twilight, and Odin needs you to fight in his armies against the evil frost giants of atheism and science, and all of those other secret worshippers of the trickster god Loki. The evidence is here for you to see. If you have a mind to understand, eyes to see, and ears to listen. Will you let Loki win this battle over us, or will you stand by Odin and reciprocate this love for your creator?